My name is Kelly Kasle, and today on Conscious Conversations, I am joined by the incredible Ken Lloyd. I am going to let him do his own little intro here because he has a very interesting job as a healer, and I have done many, many sessions with Ken. I've just been so impressed by him and his healing abilities. And we are actually going to be doing a group healing session. If you're watching this anytime before Wednesday, May 10th, then you can join us in a group healing session. But if you're watching this afterwards, then you can just get to know Ken and who he is and what he does. So, Ken, I'm going to hand the microphone to you.
Thanks, Kelly. I'm what they call a walk-in. So let me kind of explain what that means and how that happened. About spring of 2018, I was selling my company. I was a three-time cybersecurity entrepreneur, and during that process, it was incredibly stressful. Um, I began having a my deceased mother and my wife's deceased father talk to me, which was really kind of cool at the time. But what I didn't realize is they were preparing me for, well, to cross over. It was incredibly stressful and a lot of illnesses and things were happening. However, what took place was not a death, but a moment that lasted about a minute and a half. So my near death experience was absolutely boring. So we hear about all these folks out there that have these amazing 45 minutes of bliss, going up there, meeting all these wonderful things. But for me, what happened here is another version of me, a higher self version of me joined me. So at that point, I had my walk in and myself. It's what they call a soul brain walk in. So there's two versions of, however, I'm still Ken and I still have all my memories and everything that took place. So after the experience, like I said, lasted a minute and a half, my deceased mother and my wife's deceased father no longer talked to me. And that was literally the experience. So if you can imagine having that happen to you for about 3 weeks, you're like, wait a minute, I can do those things and something's going on. So I started chasing it. I'm like, okay, what I got to read? Who do I got to talk to? And I started looking for every psychic out there, every book, every modality. I had hypnosis done. I had all these things done. And what I learned is I had to detox. I had to get healthy through normal processes and hire the folks to help me understand how to get in touch with my, well, inner self. So moving forward a little bit, as I began recognizing that I did have these gifts from that walking experience, things started to happen to me. I learned energy healing. So I took a few courses and I read some books, and I could actually start having an impact on those around me. You know, connecting to them, seeing the things in the body, moving things around and getting a response from them that would validate what I was doing. But not only that, I began connecting to their consciousnesses. So I could actually look out their eyes, if you will. I could feel their emotions. I could see the things in their life that was blocking them. But rather than just being an observer, I was able to change and remove those things that were blocking them in their life, the energy out there. So, fast forward a little bit further, and I had my very first download. For those that you are spiritual, you recognize when we drop in, and we're always looking for that next bit of information. Well, it finally came to me, and they told me to go in and look at my DNA, specifically go into DNA number 3 and tell us what you see. And when I did that, I was able to see drum cymbals, and vertically going across the DNA. And the voice in my head says, take this particular drum cymbal and move it over to this position, which I did. And everything took a whole new life. So the entire DNA sequence, all the drum cymbals that were present began vibrating. And in my mind's eye, it dropped out. But also in my mind's eye, a portal opened up in front of me. And at the end of the portal, were four very large ETs, 25, 30 foot tall, incredibly large, and they were distant. It turns out I was the fifth one. So that version of me that came in was introducing me to, well, the galactic family that I belong to, which are called the Craigs. So, still struggling, still have confidence issues. And when this introduction happened, they began upgrading my body. So, I don't know exactly what they upgraded. Like, they don't tell you, but for 11 months after that, I had pins and needles through my body. Very comforting, by the way. Couldn't sleep. Didn't, yeah, it was really, really strange. You would think that would be numbing and irritating, but I would lay there and just feel these waves coming over me. And it was just amazing. What they were doing was installing or activating technology in me. Now, when I say technology, we're talking spiritual technology, frequencies, if you will. The ability for me to access the quantum realm, observe something in the quantum realm, and pull that into my reality or the reality of the person I'm working on. So we always hear about that. Once something's observed, that becomes a reality, but I'm able to shift and move these things. And as I began experimenting on certain people, they started placing people in front of me that were harder and harder and harder. So let's move to where I'm at now. So that's kind of the backstory. But right now, I am a healer, and I really have a difficult time with that word because a healer or a spiritual healer is pretty diluted in this industry, meaning that there are Reiki healers, there are drum circles, there are sound healers, there is an amazing plethora of healers. But for what me, I'm able to look at you, I'm able to drop in, and I can see the energy of the disease, and I can remove it. I had an individual the other day. I'm looking at the liver, and I'm able to see the tumors on the liver, and I'm able to remove those and then create a healthy liver, and it just shows up. I'm able to remove and see those energies impacting us. Like, why can't I get that job? Why can't I have that relationship? Where's the money at? Right? I'm able to see those things that are preventing that, and again, remove that. Um, I like to tell people I have all the check boxes of spirituality, whether it be mediumship, which happens occasionally, whether it be, again, seeing the blocks in life, but more importantly, I'm able to see contracts. So I'm able to see spiritual contracts that we created before we got here through other past lives or galactic lives. I'm able to see our soul contracts, and I'm able to negotiate, as I say, with your team to allow a certain experience to cease. As an example, if you are experiencing a illness or a sickness that was part of the plan you came in, I will work with your team to give me the permission to change that and then go and heal the disease. So ultimately, yes, I'm a healer, but I'm a very, very different type of healer. The healing that I do will show up in the person nearly instantly. As an example, if you have a shoulder pain or discomfort, I'm able to go in there and remove that. It doesn't matter the cause, whether it's from an accident or sleeping on it wrong. It doesn't matter. I don't see the cause, I just see the energy. It'll I will have the person move their shoulder as I'm talking to them, and the pain's removed, and it's permanent. It's not just for the moment, it's gone. And this happens time and time and time again. So again, spiritual healer, funny word. But the other things that I do are things called master activator or master activation. So when somebody's very spiritual and they show up in my life, I'm able to go in there and remove the things preventing them from connecting to their higher selves or getting their next version of them to come in so I can activate those dormant gifts in folks. And then finally, just to touch on it, we do have the ET connection. So I like to call myself like a match.com for ETs, meaning that the ETs have the ability to connect through me to those individuals that they need to connect to. So yes, match.com for ET. So let me kind of stop there. And I kind of rambled on, and let me turn it back over to you to see if I can fill in some blanks.
Yeah. So, for anyone watching this who just in that introduction is kind of going, huh, I have never heard of anything like this before. I don't know if I believe in ETs. What are you talking about? This frequency healing. At this point, I want you to open your mind and just start with a beginner's mind. Be open to new possibilities, to different ways of doing things, and understand that our whole physical reality, this is something that we were not taught in school in the Western system. It's definitely taught more so in the Eastern system. But our whole physical reality is created from the quantum and the, you could call it spiritual energetic realm first. And so Ken, as what he's explaining, is he is basically able to go into the quantum and work at the energetic level. I have worked with many walk-ins over the years. I mean, when I started my healing journey back in 2010, trust me, I was a huge skeptic too. And my stepmom at the time was taking me to all of these different healers, and I was just like, what is going on? What is all this? And as I worked with several other walk-ins, I realized, oh my God, this stuff actually works. I couldn't explain how it works, but it does work. So, Ken, could you please share with us, how are you different from other walk-ins?
That's a great question. So typically, a walk-in is a replacement of the original person. Well, they'll come into a traumatic scene, and they will have to clear the trauma, and they will also often find themselves leaving the job, leaving the spouse, leaving the kids, completely leaving everything to have this 3D experience. While they may bring in gifts, it doesn't necessarily mean that's their purpose. They're just here for the 3D. Now, for the other walk-ins, they do have talents, they do have gifts, but for me, I my particular gift isn't just one thing. It isn't just one frequency, one healing. It is literally across the board. And it expands beyond a single person. So as we talk about, we have this group coming up. This, I think it's on May 10th, where we're going to, do a group healing. So with that particular thing, I have access to these frequencies that'll come down and they will impact everybody in the room for 7 days. And it will remove the heart trauma. It'll remove the root trauma and the root chakra. It'll work on the energy around them. It literally takes care of the holistic body. So for me, bringing that technology in, it allows me to also heal those that are around me. So again, frequency. So I'll give an example. This past week, I was in Sarasota doing a live event, and we grabbed someone random out of the crowd, and I connected to them, and in front of everyone, I'm like, listen, you got to pick one thing. I don't have time to do the whole body. And the lady, and who's probably 80 years old, she says, my lower back, I can't bend over, I can't move. And within about a minute and a half or so, she was able to literally reach down and touch her toes. It was gone. And in that particular case, not only was I moving the energy, but I had to connect to her ancestral trauma to heal that, and it brought it in. Now, the amazing thing about that experience is the guy in the front row, his arthritis is also healed, and I had nothing to do with him. So, what's happening here is the frequencies that are in my body are not only helping those I work with, it's helping those around me, and it will continue to grow and grow and grow. So, while we say how am I different, the reality is it's my job title is different than other healers. When we look at my galactic history, I'm what they call a quantum scientist, and not an earthly quantum scientist, but I have the ability to go in and manipulate and create and move things around in the quantum, which brings it here. Other healers have the ability to pull in a frequency and apply it, and that frequency consciousness does it. For me, I'm literally working the scene. So I'm not sure if that places me in a different category as other healers. It's just I'm able to get immediate results within seconds in most cases.
And I also just want to mention here, for those of you who are getting excited about how we are hearing more about disclosure and UFOs and ETs and stuff in the news, Ken is really here more for the healing. and is not here necessarily to share your galactic ancestral information with you. You know, there's some of these channelers out there like Paul Selig and Bashar that bring these ginormous messages to humanity. But Ken's job is really to be here as a healer. Although in sessions with him, because I've done many sessions with him now, and I can speak to the efficacy that every single time after a session, something has opened up or manifested in my life. It's been very cool to watch and see. But you will get little hints of things in those sessions if you end up doing a private session with him about your possible galactic family. Would you say that I'm describing that correctly?
Absolutely. So I can connect and I can channel information, and I do allow in the sessions for those clients to ask me questions and allow the channels to come through. But again, like you mentioned, Bashar and Paul Selig, they do have information that resonates with a certain sector of individuals. We all know that we all gravitate to those that resonate. And while in those two examples, they both may have a different perspective on the same topic, people will gravitate to one that they feel is their truth. Now, for me, they don't allow me to read anything. They don't allow me to follow anybody. They don't allow me to tap into the Atlanta stuff or the Egyptian stuff or the Galactic Wars or even the Galactic Federation of Light that's out there. They want me to be completely neutral, biased, without opinion, which allows the information to flow through me. So, yes, in a session, you can ask questions, but the reality is they're designed to keep you on target and keep me from leaning one way or the other and artificially, providing you an opinion or a position.
Yeah. So, can you describe a little bit of what the Wednesday group session is going to look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we do the group session, beyond the questions and answers, and perhaps somebody might just be pulled and picked to do kind of an example of the healing. When we begin, I'll get you to a point where we can set your ego aside, your subconscious, and your vessel to make sure that they agree for the healing because they can't stop you. We'll do that. And then we'll do what I call a DNA spin up. So I'll get everyone in the room just to visualize the DNA spin up while I do the work as well. And then finally, it's what I call, follow the bouncing ball. So I'll take you through a visualization process. And then at the end of it, you'll hold a particular visualization while I provide the light language, which is really the coding and the program and the frequencies to come through and to work on you. It's really easy. There is no wrong way for people to do it. So if you can't visualize, just show up. And if you visualize, but man, I'm going too slow, or I'm going too fast, or you're seeing something else, it doesn't matter. Just showing up will deliver the healing. In fact, when we do it and the download becomes available, just listening to it, anybody within earshot will get the healing. That's just the way these frequencies work with me.
Yeah. And I'll also mention to people that in these kind of sessions, anytime you're working with an energy healer, sometimes you will feel things in the session. Sometimes your hands or your back, whatever area you're working on, could get really hot. Your body temperature could drop and get really cold. You might feel some almost like you got hit with a beam of light or energy in some places. And then sometimes some people feel nothing in the session, but the next day, 2 days later, they start noticing, oh my God, people are being nicer to me. That job that I wanted to leave, it all worked out really smoothly. The whole thing worked out. The relationship, it either came in or left. It worked out. So you really just have to show up, give it a shot, and then see what unfolds in your life. Is there anything else you would add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we say, they continue to upgrade me and provide me new tools, which I will share with humanity. And one of the things that they've just brought in around April 1st was the ability for me to manifest for others. So there's a gift provided, and it's already in the frequencies that when you focus on something, you're going to find that pulling into your life faster. All right. So today We may go through a manifestation process of writing the note and burning it on a full moon, or whatever your manifestation process is. But this is different. That reality is going to start being pulled in faster. And it's happening now. Even as you mentioned, the next day or whatever, you may start beginning to feel a shift, which, by the way, will last for 7 days. And people will write me and they're like, listen, these people that were no longer serving me, and what I mean by that is energetically serving them, are starting to fade away. They're pulling their energy, they're just leaving the scene in a natural, positive way, and they're being uplifted and they're getting energy. And yes, in this session, some people will see the lights. Most people will feel their heartbeat accelerate while these energies come in. The angels will show up, and some people will see them as well. Everyone's a little different.
Yeah. And I think that we're doing this at a really great time because we're recording this on Thursday, May 4th. Tomorrow is the lunar eclipse. So all of our lives have gotten shaken up here in the last couple weeks. And this will be a really nice session for people to ground in their manifestations. And perhaps if something really ginormous did get shaken up in your life in the last couple weeks, this will be a chance to help energetically smooth it out. And it's like sometimes when those things are getting shaken up, you kind of need help along the way to smooth out the process. So, because sometimes, I mean, overnight, I think that you've had a couple of these moments with sessions with people. I certainly get a lot of clients in my work who are going through these ginormous life transitions where it's like life comes through and just sweeps everything out all at once. Maybe you can give an example of that, but just know that when those sorts of moments happen, there are people there to support you, and also that it is happening for you, not to you.
Yeah, it is happening for you. So everything is a lesson, whether we want to accept it or not. It's a lesson, and there are times where it hurts. Whether it be a physical or whether it be an emotional or such and such. And as a human, if you will, we aren't able to recognize or understand why it's happening or how do I stop it. Why is person X treating me so bad, so on and so forth. But for me, I can see them almost instantly, and I can see those energetic cords and remove them completely and permanently. The healing that happens on those clients isn't a temporary thing, isn't just a moment thing. It is permanent. Again, it doesn't matter how it arrives. So in Sarasota, which the event I just had, I took on 36 one-on-one private sessions. Every single one of them left without the condition, the discomfort that they had when they walked in. Those are pretty good odds. Things are going to work for you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, we just wanted to give you a taste today of what this session will feel like, what Ken does. We invite you to come on May 10th and join us. There is a sign up link. If you go to either my Instagram page or Ken's Instagram page, which I'll put in the details below, and the link below to sign up for the session. If you are in the Naples, Sarasota area, I know that Ken has been doing sessions at, is it called the Cosmic Center in Sarasota?
Yeah, the Sarasota Cosmic Center. I'm up there, and
And
I'm
he's
their
doing
special
live
guest.
sessions. And he also does, the majority of your sessions are actually online, correct?
Yeah, they're all most of them are all over Zoom, and it's interesting that I don't actually have to have you in front of me, or I don't have to be talking to you. I had a situation 2 days ago where the person got on Facebook over chat and said, "Hey, I have this condition," and I tapped in, I fixed it, or I say I fixed it. I moved the energy, as we say, and a minute and a half later, gone, and the lady was just blown away. So again, I didn't talk to her verbally. I didn't see her. I am literally able to connect to anything.
Yeah. Do your guides, your team, have any final words that they'd like to add to this conversation before we finish up here?
That's a great thing. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Shukatoya ni amaria kashiketu po ala ani shikiti. Kushini ala ala ni shupo ulu ni chi ni ta ala katari ko po ni shiti ti te katari chupu po yata kani shikiti yata. So ultimately, if I was just to feel into that, it's the message of you are loved. It is a message of you can be healed and just show up for yourself. Everything's working for you.
I felt that. I felt that in the heart.
I felt the energy flowing through my whole body and I love it. So light
Yeah.
language is, it just comes out.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Ken. I'm excited for the event next Wednesday night. Please go and sign up and join us. Come with an open mind and just see what happens to you. Thank you so
Right?
much,
Thank you
Ken.
so much.
Yeah, have a
Thank you,
good one.
Kelly.